In my previous guide for Mei, I mentioned that her ice wall was an incredibly versatile tool, but failed to go into detail about the kinds of applications it could have. In this guide, I'll be going over just that, showing some more specific uses for her ice wall apart from simply blocking off doorways. First, let's go over what Mei's ice wall actually is, which isn't a wall. The wall is actually 5 individual side-by-side pillars of ice, each of which has 500 HP, so it's essentially like summoning 5 tank characters to absorb damage for you over the course of 4.5 seconds. It takes a lot of concentrated fire to get these pillars down, which is what makes Ice Wall so great at blocking off doorways in crucial moments of a match. The only character in the game that can reliably take down portions of an ice wall on their own without using an ultimate is Bastion while he's in turret mode. Since Ice Wall is an actual physical wall, it is capable of blocking attacks that shields from Reinhardt or Bastion simply cannot, most notably Symmetra and Winston. However, since it is a solid wall, this means that your team cannot shoot through it either, unlike the previously mentioned shields, so it lacks utility in comparison. Still, in a pickle, Mei can throw up an ice wall on the front of a moving payload to create an emergency defense while moving forward. It's also worth noting that an ice wall placed in front of a moving enemy payload will not stop it. The payload will simply crash through it and keep moving, so you're better off not wasting the move here. The first and most obvious use of Ice Wall is for blocking off doorways so your enemy can no longer fire at you while you're capturing a point or moving a payload. It's also good for personal defense though. Mei's Cryo Freeze can leave her in situations where she has a sure kill as soon as the skill ends, so having an Ice Wall ready as soon as you pop out of the freeze can be an excellent way to create space between yourselves and the enemies around you waiting to pounce. The Cryo Freeze itself gives you an extra 5 seconds to recharge your next Ice Wall, so there's a strong chance you'll have one ready. While it may be tempting to place a wall nearby to you and your allies to defend against a sniper or a turret, it's better for you instead to use the wall directly against the enemy position. Sure, using a wall right in front of you may protect yourself, but unless the rest of your team is nearby, they're all still possible targets. Instead, you can use the wall's ability to be activated from afar to your advantage, placing it up on high ledges that enemies are likely to use to completely block their view for a few moments, negating their height advantage for just long enough to gain that extra bit of ground. When you're out in the open, there are few scarier sounds than the beckoning of "It's high noon." Mei's Ice Wall is a great way of shutting down this ultimate right away. Rather than acting as a barricade to absorb damage, the act of raising an ice wall in front of McCree will break his line of sight, and thus he will lose his lock-on. The same goes for Soldier 76 and his ultimate. Ice walls can save your teammates in a few other unique ways. Tracer here has been hooked by Roadhog. If she gets pulled in, she's dead for sure. So how can I save her? If you can manage to put up an ice wall between an ally and the attacking Roadhog, it will catch the ally and save them from being pulled in, acting both as lifesaver and as an instant defensive barrier. But what if something far more menacing is coming in, like Diva's self-destruct, for example? Apart from being able to physically block her mecha suit from flying towards your team, an ice wall can actually block the suit's explosion as well. And it does this completely, rendering the explosion moot and keeping anyone behind the wall completely undamaged. I also mentioned in the previous guide that Mei's walls could be used to help her traverse levels. No level may better exemplify this than when you are attacking on Hanamura. Attacking point A means that the majority of heroes will be forced to go through this single choke point, while a few have access to this higher door. What may be surprising is that Mei is included amongst those who can get through it, so long as you work your way around and up to the nearby high ledge. Then, you can simply place a vertical ice wall underneath her and hop right over. Once you're attacking point B, you can follow a similar strategy by using the wall to hop over this wide gap, gaining access to the veranda directly to the left of point B. If you do want to attack from the front, rather than heading straight through the front door, an ice wall can be used to access either of the high windows at either side of the door. Take some time to go through the levels, looking for ledges and windows that may be able to access through use of an ice wall. While Mei's overall damage output and time to kill is relatively poor compared to other heroes, her ice wall grants her a long-range skill that can have a massive effect on the flow of battle. Mastering its use and placement is tricky, as you'll find that in the heat of battle, placing a wall up quickly and accurately is a challenge. Good level knowledge is an absolute must. Knowing popular sniper and turret positions, areas you can access via walls, and how to create choke points with a wall are all things that you can only learn through experiencing these stages over and over again. Walls have their greatest effect with good team communication as well. It's very easy to throw up a wall between your team and the enemy team under the assumption that you're protecting your teammates, when in reality, you may have just saved the enemy team from a skirmish that they were surely losing. You have to communicate to be able to gauge proper use of these walls, or you may end up just hindering your team's chances of success more than helping them. Take some time, try to learn the flow of battle, and aim your walls steadily, and your Mei's effect in battle will be significantly more notable.